longer the only one. Hasn't been for a little while. And taking on LeBron, this is what Magic had to say Saturday, speaking at the University of Albany. There's going to always be great players in basketball. There's going to always be guys who win championships in the NBA, except LeBron. Everybody's always asking, who is better between Kobe and LeBron? I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, you're kidding me. Kobe, 5 championships. LeBron, 0. Stop trying to compare him to Michael Jordan. Come on, man. 6 championships for Jordan? Now, Magic later would say that he's joking. Look at the comments, though, and he says he was joking about it, but are comments like that out of line?
Absolutely not. It was entirely appropriate. It was entirely accurate. A matter of fact, the only problem that I have with Magic Johnson is that he ultimately ended up saying he was kidding, because he shouldn't have been kidding. He's absolutely correct. And this is really at the heart of the points that I've been making, and I'm dead serious about this, all joking aside, Skip. It wasn't your statement, it was LeBron's performance. I've been defending him for years against you. But I will tell you this, I have spoken to numerous champions in the last 8, 9, 10 months. And here is the one problem that they have with LeBron James. It's not just the fact that he's devoid of championships, but not only does he seem to welcome the celebration of him, but he seems to celebrate himself when there's nothing to celebrate. He hasn't gotten it done. 9 years and counting, 0 championships, and celebrates himself entirely too much. And that is why you heard Magic said what he said. And I dare to tell you this, Magic Johnson is not just speaking for himself, he is speaking for a multitude of champions out there that have a problem with LeBron James being in their class when he hasn't paid the price. Simple.
Completely agree. But what was stunning to me about Magic in Albany speaking to a college group, I think, was how sarcastic and dismissive he was of LeBron James. I know Magic has respect for LeBron's talent.
He has profound respect for LeBron's talent.
After what Magic witnessed in the NBA Finals, he went completely over the edge to no respect. I'm going to make jokes about him now. And I know he backed off, and you were saying it's almost like a George Steinbrenner. Don't back off, Magic, because I think LeBron deserved to have jokes made about him after the NBA Finals.
See, for me, and that's the difference between me and Magic. Magic is like Skip said, and I agree with him to some degree. You know, he's joking about it. It's some disrespect. I'm angry. I'll be the first to admit I'm angry.
You feel like he's wasting talent?
Because I know how great he is. I know how great this guy can be.
But I don't.
I'm just saying, but you got to want it. It's that little extra stuff. You got to want it. And we have to, if we stop rewarding, that's why I'm doing it. I'm putting LeBron James on notice. I'm coming for him. I'm going to talk about, I don't want to talk about LeBron James unless we are talking about his absence of rings. There is nothing else about LeBron James that should be relevant to us from this moment forward until this boy starts winning. He's too great to come up as short as he's going to come up.
He made you look foolish in the in. Your expect level is high for him.
You know what?
Mine's medium.
That's fair. He did. I take that.
Which is where the anger comes from.
Yeah, because come on, Dana. I sit here for 8 years.
It's not justified.
I'm saying, I believe in him. How many times? For 8 years I've been fighting. This boy is the real deal, and you come up that short. It's embarrassing. Embarrassing.
That your I told you.
Embarrassing.
Nothing more needs to be said. Thank you.
Skip Bayless is right. I have nothing to.
State Desk, Stephen A. Smith. Next topic. The tweet heard round the world. LeBron tweeting yesterday to John Clayton. He wanted to know when was the deadline for NFL teams to sign free agents. And man, did that cause a stir. Stephen A., you had a particular problem with it. Go.
Well, he came out and he acknowledged later on that he was joking, if I hear correctly. My whole point with LeBron James is that he just needs to be quiet. The NBA had just canceled the first 2 weeks of the season. People, you know, over in excess of $200 million is being lost. People losing their jobs and things of that nature, and here you are joking as usual. I have no problem with them tweeting because players tweet all the time. That's not the issue. It's the fact that he was joking, and it was the timing of his joke that I have a problem with. You need to focus, okay, on getting a deal done, getting a collective bargaining agreement reached, so you can get back on the court and make up to millions upon millions of fans who watched you wet the bed in the fourth quarter. That's what you need to be doing. I don't want to hear anything about football. I don't want to hear anything about anything. I want to hear about their sneakers. I have no problem with Carmelo Anthony, you know, his sneakers, but he, you know, they got to win too. And Amari Stoudemire being up here yesterday with, you know, with his tight suit on and all that. I have no problem with that either. I got no problem with none of that. But LeBron James, it is time. And the reason that I say it's time is because he's the one with the tattoo, the chosen one. He's the one with the King James. I want to hear stuff. He, you know, he's a great guy, and you know, he's got to deal with a lot of stuff. And we, you know, bottom line is he's a great person, okay? And we shouldn't even be focused on anything but his game. But his game has come up short time and time again. And the one other thing that I want to say, Skip, before I leave this to you, and I'm dead serious about this. There's something about LeBron James that's really starting to alarm me. You got titles, King James, chosen one. None of the great guys, you know, they shun all of that until they won a championship. It's like he wants to be crowned with no rings. You don't get to do that. You got to get it done. And I've been holding off on it because I disagreed with Skip totally. But to lose in the finals the way that he did, and then to come out here with the smile on your face like that, the world is just beautiful. I don't understand it. Champions don't do that. They just don't. That's what I wanted to say.
Sounds familiar.
Why are you so hard on this poor man?
That is funny coming from you. That is hysterical. Oh my God.
Wait.
You of all people.
Do you have something personal against this man?
You know what?
That's all I've ever heard for 5 years.
Listen, man. Listen, Skip. It's got me to the point. I never dreamed that I would see LeBron James not show up in the fourth quarter the way he did for 4 straight games in the NBA Finals. But then to come out and to say what he said in the aftermath of that press conference, people are just gonna go back to their regular old lives, and to walk around all summer long, city to city, state to state, wherever he is, big fat smile on his face, like it's no big deal that we lost and I embarrassed myself in the NBA Finals. It's no big deal. I can't take it no more. Enough.
I'm shocked.
Enough.
Skip, I'm shocked
Enough.
right now.
Stephen A.
Gotta get it done.
Stephen A.
Oh, don't say that. Oh my God.
Stephen A., it is shocking because you've come a lot closer to where Skip is on this topic.
Listen, I have, because, but no, I always disagree with him. But now, LeBron James has given substance and credence to the argument that Skip Bayless was making about him.
Yeah.
Who defended him all of these years?
You have.
It's too much, man. It's just too much.
Allow me to psychoanalyze my friend Stephen A.
Go ahead, please.
Because I believe I know you better than you know yourself.
Oh, God.
A lot of this is coming from a place of, how dare you guys take my NBA away from me? You're in mourning. You said he should have been in mourning. We should be in. You're in mourning because you love this game.
Yes, I do.
This has been your life, your lifeblood. It's what you want to talk about. Not that you don't want to talk about the NFL and baseball and whatever else, but this is what you love.
You're right.
National Basketball Association. And for the first time in a long time, it has been pulled right out from under you when it's time to go. This is the time where we should be nearing the start of a season here, and it's looking farther and farther away, and it is killing you. So you want him to shut up because this is dire straits time. You want him at the negotiating table, not at the keyboard.
Is he onto something there? It makes sense.
No. Skip is completely right. That's not all there is to it, but every word that he just said is 100% correct. I absolutely do feel that way. But the other issue, like I talked to before, is I've spoken to champions. I've spoken to Hall of Famers throughout my career.
I agree.
And they talk about the price that they paid in order to win, to be crowned champions. And this guy is walking around like he won the title. It bothers me. Enough. You got to get it done. Period. No more excuses. No more. I don't care about what products you're selling. I don't care about what you do through November, through May, assuming there's going to be a case. I care about what you're going to do in terms of putting rings on your finger so Skip Bayless, myself, and everybody else can shut up. It is time. I'm tired of this man being celebrated. For what? We know you're great. How about winning? Win for once.
Just win. Yeah.
Just win, baby.
Welcome
just
to the
win.
You have
Al Davis, just win.
Yeah.
That's it. Enough.
Enough said.
I have to say, victory, Skip Bayless. You have changed Stephen A.'s mind on something I never thought.
LeBron changed my mind.
He's been saying this for years, Stephen A., and you debated him on it.
And I always fought for LeBron. But now he walks around like he's won something.
All right.
You haven't.
Look, 90 seconds, and I know it's just fun.
Yeah.
We've seen other guys go from basketball to football, and none of them were the freaks in basketball that this guy is. He was All-State in the state of Ohio in high school, I know. Could he play in the NFL?
Easily. Without question. This guy's a freak of nature. That's one of the reasons he annoys me so much now. He can do it all. He's one of the greatest athletes we have ever seen. He is a freak of nature. He is a locomotive. He is an unstoppable presence. I don't know what position he can play.
Part of a champion you say he lacks. He needs more of that in football.
He unquestionably lacks the heart of a champion.
He needs more of that heart in football.
That's true. But there's a lot of guys that play on the level, but they don't show up in big moments. But they
LeBron James will want no part of the contact required to play in the National Football League. I don't believe he's mentally or physically tough enough to be a star. To be a star.
He's physically tough enough. Yes,
I don't think he would be able to take it on a Sunday.
He would want no part of the contact in a high school practice.
Well, that's true.
Because he's throwing the money down the line.
There's an injury risk. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. There you have it. LeBron James talk. Stephen.
LeBron the best in the league since Michael Jordan.
Stephen A., I think that LeBron James just might be the greatest stat sheet stuffer we've ever seen. I think as a stat machine, I think he's beyond Michael Jordan. I think he will eclipse Michael Jordan in every statistical category. But you know and I know, it doesn't matter. We don't care. We all accept that. We accept he's the most talented player by far in today's game. Talent-wise, he's probably beyond Michael Jordan. He's a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, a little stronger. But so what? Because he's the un-Jordan, obviously, when it comes to clutch time, to winning time, as Magic Johnson used to say it. And to me, I'm back to my new expression. Not amnesia, it's Lebresia. The LeBron idolaters out there, and maybe this guy is one of them, they conveniently want to overlook the nightmarish failures, the collapses, the chosen one turns frozen one that we've seen repeatedly in the playoffs. So I accept all the stats. I embrace all the stats. I just want to see him do it in the finals. And I know you've been right there with me all year.
Well, I have been in terms of wanting to see him to do it in the finals. I'm not going to be blind and oblivious to what I've seen him do during the regular season. That's why he got my league MVP vote. I know that as a stat machine, he's the greatest in the game and may be the greatest ever. But I have to add closing into the equation. You know, when you sit around and you hear guys allude to his years in Cleveland and how he was carrying a bunch of no names and all of this other stuff, I got into a debate with some of my boys the other day, including Mr. West himself. Worldwide West is what they call him because obviously he loves LeBron James. And one of the things that I pointed out was that you have to be able to close in order to cement your greatness as a player. And I think that what's dangerous about LeBron James, I'm going to go a little deep here, Skip. What's dangerous about LeBron James is not LeBron James' fault. You have people here that are so enamored and so in love with his game that they don't know how to stop where I stop. And that is by giving him praise and recognizing his greatness, but stopping right there and recognizing also that he has unfinished business. They don't want to do that. They want to sit there and stop at his greatness, put the period mark and the exclamation point there and say, that's it. And what they're not realizing is that LeBron James, in my estimation, may be the most dangerous professional athlete in the history of this country. And here's what I mean by that. When Isaiah Thomas and Dr. J. Julius Erving and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and everybody were coming up and playing in the games, there was an unwritten code. You had to get it done. You had to win. What transpired was Michael Jordan ultimately had elevated to astronomical proportions, but he wasn't winning championship skips, and everybody was on him. It was Michael Jordan that took it upon himself that said, with these sneaker deals, with all of these endorsement contracts, I've got to close the deal. I got to get it done because I'll be sick to my stomach if I don't. Unfortunately, up until this season, LeBron James has given the impression that if he didn't win, it was okay. The sun will rise tomorrow. The sun will shine another day. I'll be just fine. And that kind of message resonated with the rest of the athletes out there. Yeah, we'll try to win. But if we don't, let's make sure we build up our Twitter and Facebook accounts, that we build up our name and our cachet on Madison Avenue, that we position ourselves to make money and earn a quality living for ourselves after our playing days are over. And that has become more of a priority than actually winning. And that's the problem. And that's why I say before this year, he was very, very dangerous because he buffered that point. And you don't want professional athletes thinking like that while they're still playing and they still have business to accomplish.
Okay, I need to make the points of order again. Michael Jordan ran up against, as a young player, the bad boy Pistons and Magic's Lakers and Larry Bird's Celtics. LeBron hasn't had those kind of roadblocks. Dirk's Mavericks don't qualify as any of those three teams. And we know what happened to LeBron in the finals last year. And yet, I still feel this groundswell, this media bandwagon rolling once again to prematurely crown LeBron King James. He's wearing his Roman numeral, what is it, his mouth guard.
16.
Yeah, 16. Yeah, and just go do it. That's all I ask. Just show us. Go do it.
All right. He also said recently if they don't win the finals that the season is not a failure. And that leads even more people to say...
He said that?
He did a few weeks ago at the end of the
that's not good. That's not good.
I know you don't
that's
like
not good. It absolutely is a failure if they don't win it this year.
It is, yeah. Well, he has said you don't have to win it all for it to be a success.
Nothing less than satisfactory, and that's why I love being down here in South Beach, guys, just walking around looking at members of the Miami Heat organization. You can feel it. If they don't get it done this year, Raleigh...
You know, when I was a kid, when I was in high school, I was growing up through the ranks when Kobe came into the league. He was, it wasn't a dream of mine to come straight, from high school at that point in time to the NBA. But I was like, wow, a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid being able to make that leap, that's pretty damn cool. And as I started playing more ball and I went into high school, the things that he was doing on the floor, I admired and wanted to be a part of. I went to ABCD camp, and he came and talked to all the kids that was there, and I happened to be one of the kids that was there, and I was just listening. I was just trying to soak everything up I could, And I remember one thing that he said. He was like, if you want to try to be, great at it, or want to be one of the greats, you got to put the work in. There's no substitution to work. And I was a 15-year-old kid at that camp. You can actually find the footage of him at that camp. And in 2001, I believe I was playing in New Jersey, and the All-Star game, if I'm not mistaken, and y'all can correct me, it was in Philly, right? Yeah, that Saturday, me and Maverick drove to the Intercontinental downtown Philadelphia, and he gave me a pair of his shoes, which I ended up wearing that following night. It was the red, white, and blue Kobe's. I was a 15, and he was a 14, and I wore them anyways. And I sat and just talked to him for a little bit. He gave me the shoes. I rocked them in the game. And it was the same night that we played Oak Hill against Melo. And then I saw what he was able to do the very next night, winning MVP here in Philly. That following night. As I got drafted, I still just admired him. Seeing what he was able to accomplish, winning championships, being early in his career where, he learned from the misses that he had against the series against Utah, and he just used that as motivation and got better and better and better to him winning multiple championships, and continued to admire him throughout my high school rank. And then as competitors, just seeing the work ethic that he put into the game. He had zero flaws offensively, zero. You backed off of him, he could shoot the three. You body him up a little bit, he can go around you. He can shoot the mid-range, he can post, he can make free throws. He had zero flaws offensively. And, that's something that I admired as well, just being at a point where the defense will always be at bay, where they couldn't guard you at all offensively, where you just felt like you was just immortal offensively because of your skill set and your work ethic. We take it down to 2008 where we become the Redeem team. And it was a dream come true for me to be able to line up alongside of him. Just admiring him for so many years, and seeing him from afar, and then being able to be in practices with him, and me watching and learning. So on. I mean, it's just too much. It's just too much. The story is just too much. It doesn't make sense. And just to make a long story short, now I'm here in the Lakers uniform in Philadelphia, where he's from, where one of the first time I ever met him, gave me his shoes, he won All-Star Week. It's surreal.
Retirement. Okay, and I hear meeting Michael Jordan for you was what?
Man, meeting Michael Jordan for me was like, it looked like he was like Jesus, Black Jesus walking towards me. Yeah. So when he walked in, it was like, I didn't know what to say. It was overwhelming to meet, to finally meet the guy that I've looked up to my whole life.
Really? Because you've been playing basketball since you came out of the womb?
Well, yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
I think.
So you chose to wear the same number as Michael, too, 23.
Right. And that's my inspiration in basketball, to see what he did on the court and to see what he did off the court. I didn't think there was no other number to wear besides 23.
Besides 23. And so what?
David Quinn, ESPN. LeBron, from the number that you wear on your jersey to, just the way people have talked about this one guy being such a luminary in the game and you trying to chase it. How do you put into words passing Michael in such a statistic that has a lot of stature in this game?
I think, first of all, I wear the number because of Mike. I think I fell in love with the game because of Mike, just seeing what he was able to accomplish. But I felt like Mike was so, when you're growing up and you're seeing Michael Jordan, it's almost like a god. So I didn't never believe I could be Mike. So I started to focus myself on other players and other people around my neighborhood because I never thought that you could get to a point where Mike was. So I think that helped shape my game. And I think the biggest thing for me sitting here today after breaking the all-time scoring record in playoff history is that I did it just being me. I don't have to score the ball to make an impact in the basketball game. And that was my mindset. When I started playing the game, I was like, if I'm not scoring the ball, how can I still make an impact on the game? And it's carried me all the way to this point now, and it's gonna carry me for the rest of my career because scoring is not number one on my agenda.
Jason Lloyd, The Athletic, you've said multiple times now that you, growing up, you never thought you could reach Michael status. When did you realize you could?
I don't have a. I mean,
You're on the green. If you're not,
I'm not a golfer. This guy right here to my left is though, so he'll tell me what that means when we get on the bus.
He drove the green, I'll tell you that.
but you know what I mean. You're obviously in the discussion, whether or not you, whatever. Like you said earlier, it's a barbershop debate, but you're in that discussion. When did you realize you could be?
I think, Jason, at the end of the day, for my name to come up in a discussion with the greatest basketball player of all time, it's like wow. Like I said, I did pretty much everything that MJ did when I was a kid. I shot fadeaways before I should have. I wore a leg sleeve on my leg and folded it down so you saw the red part.
For no reason.
I wore black and red shoes with white socks. I wore short shorts so you could see my undershorts underneath. I didn't go bald like Mike, but I'm getting there. But I'm getting there. But it'd be post-career though. That's the only thing I didn't do. But other than that, I did everything Mike did. I even wore a wristband on my forearm. So I didn't do the hoop ring either. That was Mike. But I did everything Mike did, man. I wanted to be Mike. And so for my name to come up in any discussion with Michael Jordan or Kareem and all these great guys that has paved the way for myself and Tristan and Kev and Schlish, it's just a wow factor. I don't really have nothing to say.
No, I felt the dude looked like Jesus Christ to me. He looked like he was Black Jesus to me. Nobody could tell me anything different. It didn't make sense to me. Like for me growing up in Akron, Ohio, all the hardships that I had to go through, you look for inspiration. You look for any inspiration you can. And usually people that's playing professional sports or people in the music industry is the ones that gave you that inspiration to make you believe you could be anything you want. I had, King Griffey Jr. and Deion Sanders and a lot of other musicians, but Michael Jordan was kind of like that God. He was that angel sent from heaven. That Michael Jordan was kind of like that God. He was that angel sent from heaven that I kind of used him to help me get through some of the darkest days that I had. Even at people say, well, you're only 9 years old, but there's a lot of dark days, when you grow up the way I grew up and you're part of a single parent household. So, every other day, if I got an opportunity on WGN to watch Mike, it gave me another boost of life. It made me feel that I can make it out of this situation. And when he decided to, give it up after winning that third title versus Phoenix, I felt like, what can I do? I don't know what to do. And I'm losing words right now thinking about it again. It's kind of resurfacing me as a 9-year-old. I'm like, okay, without Mike, what do I do now? Who is going to be my inspiration? And that brought tears to my eyes. Yeah, because like when you're a 9-year-old kid and you need inspiration from someone, they become your father, which I needed. They become your brother. They become your teammate. They become your pastor. They become your superhero. It's like Batman and Michael Jordan for me when I was growing up. Those are the two best superheroes in the world. And I even remember the cartoon, what was it called? The All-Stars map with him, Wayne Gretzky, Bo Jackson. Yeah, like I remember that too, man. It was like one of my All-Stars is gone. Like, what am I going to do? Like, so, they become everything in your household. And it's definitely something that's unfair to that particular athlete. But as a 9-year-old, that's all I knew. So we didn't have the inside track on, what was the real reason that he was giving it up. I feel like, maybe I should give up too.
I believe 2001 is the year you met MJ, and it was in Chicago. Talk about what that experience was like, please.
Bro, you have no idea, man. It's two things. It's two people that I've met in my life that's changed my life. Meeting my wife that I've been with since 2002. And when I met Michael Jordan in 2001, you know what, let me throw Jay-Z on there too, because that was a huge moment for me too. But when I met Michael Jordan for the first time, I literally couldn't believe it was him. I couldn't believe it. Like, people, I felt the dude looked like Jesus Christ to me. He looked like he was Black Jesus to me. Nobody could tell me anything different. People, I felt the dude looked like Jesus Christ to me. He looked like he was Black Jesus to me. Nobody could tell me anything different. When I was in Chicago, Maverick and I and our good friend G, they take us to hoops. I'm going there. And before they play, they say Mike always, used to lift before they play. Mav know the story. So we walk upstairs And nobody told me that Mike lifted before he played. I don't know anything about lifting right now. I'm a high school sophomore. I don't know anything about lifting. We walk up there, and the first person I see is Charles Oakley. You know, Oak being from Cleveland, dapped him up. I had seen Oak around the city a few times, you know. And Oak moved, and when he moves, Mike is sitting on the bench press. And I was like, oh my God. I didn't think he was real, man. You don't understand. I didn't think Michael Jordan was real. I only thought he lived in the TV, either in games or commercials or Come Fly With Me on cassette tapes.
Wow, yeah.
I didn't think he was real. And when I saw him, I was like, if the man above would have took me that day, I would have lived a hell of a life, I swear to God.
So this is your sophomore year in high school, correct?
It's my sophomore year, yep.
Sophomore year, 2001. You're on the court with him. What's that experience like? I mean, you're on the court with, Black Jesus, as you said. Do you remember anything about that run?
Yeah, him and Antoine Walker was talking so much I swear to God. People, I felt the dude looked like Jesus Christ to me. He looked like he was Black Jesus to me. Nobody could tell me anything different.
Was there, when you were a kid, who did you look up to? Who was, in your mind, your game you were playing? Whose game were you playing in your mind?
Wow, I love Michael Jordan. The way that he approached the game, the way that he led his troops when he went out on the court, and his never say die attitude, man, was something I always looked up to.
And maybe it didn't work out chronologically. I'm guessing did you ever get to play any kind of game with him?
No, never got an opportunity to compete against him.
Yeah. You meet him? You know him?
Yeah. Let me tell you a story. As a matter of fact, the first, so I'm growing up and I'm watching, this guy Michael Jordan. I think all you guys know him. I think. So I'm growing up watching this guy on TV every day, and I'm like, wow, he's an amazing basketball player. Hopefully someday I get an opportunity to meet him. So I think it was my junior year in high school. I go up to Chicago and I go to a gym called Hoops where he plays basketball in the summertime. And I didn't know he was going to be there, but I seen him walking towards me, and it was kind of like he was walking on air. I had to pinch myself. Is that Michael? Who? And it's like he was like Black Jesus to me. Like I was like, are you finally here? Yeah. So that was like one of the best feelings.
Now,
I've
had
ever
he
had.
at that point in your life, in your basketball career, had he heard of you? Did he know of you?
Well, yeah, I think he did. He called me a young fella, of course.
Yeah.
And just basically told me to keep working at it, and someday I can get to the NBA. I was a junior in high school, so I guess he told me something right, and I just kept working at it.
Hey, Mikey, we like it. Not a huge surprise, but clearly one of the great comebacks since Burt Reynolds' hairline. It came in a 2-word statement, which is now just begging to have a Nike campaign built around it. Quote unquote, I'm back. That's all Jordan said on Saturday. That was really all Jordan needed to say as his 17-month retirement came to an end. He will be back on Sunday when the Bulls play.
LeBron, you got to do what makes you happy. And I was like, yeah, I think so. And also, I'm going to do what makes my city and my state happy, and that's why I came back. I love you. I'm back.
That one right there made me the greatest player of all time. That's what I felt. Reasons. I was super, super ecstatic to win one for Cleveland because of the 52-year drought. Like, I was ecstatic. Like, obviously, I showed that the first wave of emotion was when everyone saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years. Everything in sports was going on in Cleveland. And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. Everybody was just talking how they were the greatest team of all time. Like, they was the greatest team ever assembled. And for us to come back, the way we came back in that fashion, I was like, you did something special. That's like one of the only times in my career I felt like, oh shit, like you did something special. I haven't really had time to really like sit back and think, but that was a moment.
Mm-hmm. What would it take for LeBron to pass Jordan as the GOAT?
All right, so if we're talking about accomplishments, he needs at least a couple more rings, probably one more MVP. But if we're talking about accomplishments, Jordan's not the GOAT, it's Kareem. And if it's not Kareem, it's probably Russell. So we're not really talking about accomplishments, we're talking about who's the best. Who's the best? One game to decide your life, who do you want in all-time history? So for LeBron to pass Jordan, he needs a time machine to go back about 11 months when he passed him the first time. LeBron's been the best player ever since about midway point of Game 6 of last year's finals, and all he's done since then is continue that. He's on the greatest streak in postseason history since Dre called him the B word and Clay said his feelings were hurt. He's played 16 games. His team's 15-1, giving you 34, 9, 8, and 55% shooting. And when we're just comparing the two players, LeBron averages more rebounds, assists, blocks, steals than Jordan. Shoots a better percentage from 2, shoots a better percentage from 3, is the more versatile defender, can guard all 5 positions. He can do everything Jordan could do, but better. So what does he need to do to pass Michael Jordan? He already done past Michael Jordan as far as who's the best player ever.
The news again coming in moments ago, Kevin Durant heading to the Golden State Warriors. How are you viewing this move from Durant?
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar. Plain and simple. That's just how I look at it. It's not that he's leaving Oklahoma City. If you're not happy there and you want to move on and you want to grow as a player, there's nothing wrong with that. He's one of the top 3 players in the world. He's a quintessential superstar. He deserves all the credit in the world for the talent that he possesses. But the flip side is this. They were up 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. Not 1, not 2, but 3 different times. He was 48 minutes removed from getting to the NBA Finals by winning the Western Conference. 3 times he failed, particularly in Game 6. And you depart for the team that beat you when you're on the cusp of getting to the finals yourself or ultimately winning the championship for the franchise that you've been with since you've come into the NBA, I think it's incredibly weak. And I don't want to hear any comparisons to that of LeBron James when LeBron James left Cleveland for South Beach. When LeBron left Cleveland, the cupboard was bare. He was basically the only dude in Cleveland. It was LeBron James and a bunch of no-names. In the case of Kevin Durant, you have one of the top 5 players in the world as your teammate. You've got Billy Donovan, who's proven to be an exceptional coach. You've got a coaching staff. You've got a first-class organization. You've got Enes Kanter, Steven Adams, and all of these boys. You are legitimately a championship contender. You are the difference. You are the superstar. And you depart for the team that beat you, that's the 2-time reigning defending Western Conference champions, who's won a championship in the last 2 years. You're jumping on the bandwagon as far as I'm concerned. That's just the way that I look at it. I don't think there's any way to deny that. All the reporters, whether it's Ramona, it's Chris Broussard, everybody doing an exceptional job, pointing out the things that they point out. I don't disagree with anything anybody is saying. But in the end, what it comes down to is that Kevin Durant is one of the top 3 players in the world, and he ran away from the challenge that he faces in order to jump on the bandwagon of a team that's a little bit better, that's already ripe with at least one superstar, a couple of guys that can really, really get it done. I just view it as him jumping on the bandwagon, and I think it's the weakest move I've ever seen by a superstar, plain and simple.
Chris Broussard, let's say that the Warriors win a championship next year. That's not without the realm of possibility. Do you think it's watered down because it's a team that...
I disagree with Steve.
Okay.
I don't think this is much different at all from what LeBron James did in 2010 when he went to Miami. Remember, those Cleveland teams won 66 and 61 games. And I could argue that LeBron's struggles at the end of that Boston series in 2010, they were up 2-1 on Boston. He was phenomenal in Game 3 and then struggled the rest of the series, and they lost. And then he went to a guy, Dwayne Wade, who had already won the championship, and with Chris Bosh. So I understand Steve saying they were up 3-1 on Golden State, and they should have won that. But this is similar, Steve, man. This is very similar, I think, to what LeBron did. So I can't rip KD for this.
Well, I'm not. Listen, I'm not ripping him for leaving. First of all, I'm ripping him for the team that he went to. You're going to the team that beat you when you were 48 minutes away on 3 separate occasions from beating them yourself. It's not that he's leaving Oklahoma City. It's the team that he's going to. And Chris Broussard, you've covered this league too long. I don't know how in God's name you can sit there and say that it's a similar situation to what LeBron experienced in Cleveland.
LeBron was being compared to Michael Jordan. And you know the criticism LeBron took, which is similar to what you're saying.
Okay, go ahead. I'm asking a question.
All right.
Tell me who was LeBron James' teammates. Who are they?
They were good enough to help him get 66 wins.
I asked you a question. It's a direct question.
He didn't have a Russell Westbrook. He didn't have a Russell Westbrook.
Keep going.
Hold on, Steve. Could they not have beaten Boston?
It's not the same. And not only that, there were more things that were going on in Cleveland on a personal level, which you know just as well as anybody, that influenced LeBron leaving Cleveland too. What's KD's excuse? Are you kidding me?
Kobe Bryant. I've decided to take my talent to No, I have decided to skip college and take my talent to the NBA.
In this fall, man, it's very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Miami Heat.
Have an opportunity to team up with, arguably the best trio to ever play the game of basketball. It was amazing.
LeBron, on behalf of all of South Florida, thank you. Welcome. How does it feel wearing a Heat uniform?
It feels right. It feels right. And to be in this position, to wear this Heat uniform every single night, we're gonna make the world know, not just this league. We're gonna make the world know that the Heat is back.
Let's get it done, man. Let's get this thing done. Hola. ¿Cómo están? Yo estoy muy bien. Muy bien.
We're gonna challenge each other in practice, and the way we're gonna challenge each other to get better in practice. Once the game starts, I mean, it's gonna be easy. I mean.
But we also know you three kings came down here to win championships. Not one, championships.
Not two.
LeBron, tell us about that.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. Hey.
Does it bother you that so many people are happy to see you fail?
Absolutely not. Because at the end of the day, all the people that was rooting on me to fail, at the end of the day, they got to wake up tomorrow and have the same life that they had before they woke up today. They got the same personal problems that they had today. And I'm going to continue to live the way I want to live and continue to do the things that I want to do with me and my family and be happy with that. So, they can get a few days or a few months or whatever the case may be on being happy about not only myself, but the Miami Heat not accomplishing their goal. But, they got to get back to the real world at some point.
First question, Joe, on the left side, second row.
Joe Barton, Cleveland.com. LeBron, we're just learning about your hand injury, and we can obviously see the brace. Can you take us through what happened and if it caused you any problems over the final 3 games?
What happened? Self-inflicted. Post-game after game 1. Very emotional. For a lot of different reasons. Understanding how important the game 1 is on the road for our ball club.
What I walk away from tonight, however, is how horrible the Cleveland Cavaliers look. They quit. They quit. I'm not dissing LeBron. I don't want to hear no more comparisons, though. Not like this. You don't go down like this. Now, he gave some effort, but then ultimately, he gave up. And when he gave up, the rest of the team followed. And it was that bad. You had to be here. You had to see this to believe it. They got their butts kicked, period. They got taken to school, period. Backdoor cuts, wide open three-pointers surrendered, open layups looking like a layup line, like you're playing horse in the park or something. There's no effort here. It was a sad, sad ending to this season. When you talk about an NBA Finals, you don't expect it to end like this. You don't expect the team to go out like that. The Cleveland Cavaliers tonight in Game 4 of the NBA Finals went out like Toronto went out in Game 4 of the semifinal series right here on the same court against Cleveland. The effort was weak. It was whack. It was just embarrassing.
Bryant, and one guy's certainly envious of the way Bryant's played lately, LeBron James.
I scratch my head every time I hear the name Kobe Bryant right now, and I try to get a dictionary and try to find a word that what he's doing right now, and I'm just lost for words. I mean, he's amazing. I've been quoted saying that he's definitely the best player in our league. To me, in my eyes, the best scorer in our league, and it's unbelievable. I don't know if it's not another guy in this league that can accomplish some of the things that he's doing right now.
Well, in Cleveland this past week. So let me ask both of you. Kobe, you start. Tell me how you see LeBron's game developing after just going up against him this week.
I mean, he's an incredible player. I think, his size and, he's meshed with his quickness and his leaping ability, his passing ability, his shooting ability. I think he's a tremendous all-around player.
LeBron, how's Kobe doing these days?
Well, like I've been quoted in the past, and I will continue to be quoted, I think he's the best player in our league right now. What he's able to do offensively and defensively is, it's unbelievable, and I look up to a guy like Kobe Bryant just because of what he's able to do every night he goes out on the basketball court. So, once again, I'm quoted again saying that Kobe Bryant is the best player in our league.
That's what I think. One-on-one is that's easy for me. That's just like playing one-on-one is that's how I grew up playing. That's like my thing. LeBron is it's more like a Magic Johnson would say. He's a great passer. He plays all around game. At the core of me, I'm a one-on-one player. I do that in my sleep.
Do you think that LeBron James will ever win a championship?
I don't know. Hopefully, you want to win one of ours. I'm in the league. I want to win them.
Yeah, right. Now, what happened with you and LeBron at the All-Star game? I mean, we tried to read lips, and everyone tried to read into that. What happened?
Oh, man, it was just general smack talk. You know how it goes, man. It's just, I've known LeBron for a long time, man. He's really a good friend of mine.
it's just, you know, it's just normal banter that goes on, man.
Normal banter that goes on, but certainly from where you're sitting, Kobe, having 5 rings. When you hear him go not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, and then doesn't take a shot in 4 however many consecutive fourth quarters in the finals, what are you thinking?
Well, I think that, you know, I know him pretty well, and I know the type of person that he is. And he's the type of person that's, first of all, he's a workaholic, he's a gym rat, and he's constantly learning, trying to make himself better. So, you know, it's just a matter of him figuring out how he wants to go about closing games. And, you know, that's how I approach it. I don't look at it as, you know, he's shies away from the moment, he's scared of the moment.
But you're an alpha personality. How would you is he an alpha or a beta?
Well, I mean, he's generally a nice guy. You know, I can't really say that about myself when I'm competitive. You know, when I'm competing, as you could tell in the interview, I'm not really the type to just sit back and give you standard generic answers. I'm going to say what I feel and do as I please. And I don't really care if you necessarily like it or approve or agree with that. It just is what it is. And, you know, I think that comes into play at the end of the game.
Take yourself out of the conversation. Oh, you got another one?
Well, no, just following that line of thought, that comes into play at the end of the game. Kobe is willing to take that responsibility, you're saying, Kobe, right? That win or lose, you took that shot.
I don't really care. Like, if Marcellus, like, for example, you take the game against New Orleans, right, when I was 0 for 15. That last shot I took, you know, to give us the lead was a terrible shot. It was a terrible shot. We were down 2.
But it won the game.
I could have threw the ball inside. I could have drove to the basket, but I felt like I could make it, so I rose up and I took it. Now, if I missed it, you know, the radio the next day would just devour me, but it is what it is.
And LeBron is less likely to take that shot.
So I don't know what's going on in his head, but you know, the shots that I take, not too many people would take those because
you gotta make me
comes with a lot of baggage.
Who is willing to take them? Do you think in the league?
I don't know. I can't really speak for the rest of the guys.
See, Kobe, now look at him. He's asking these whack questions now. Kobe, he's forcing me to ask you 2 questions at once. First one is...
Go ahead. Then I gotta go catch a plane.
Damn, you see, you're making him late for, you know. Shut up. Kobe, what's your shoe size?
Take yourself out the conversation, Kobe. Who's the best player in the NBA? And second of all, if you had to start a team with yourself, who would you draft?
Take myself out of the equation. Who's the best player in the NBA?
Yep.
LeBron James.
All right. Now, if you had to draft a team, would it be LeBron?
Question.
Now, do what? If I had to draft what?
If you had to draft a team, who would be the first teammate you had?
If I draft a team, the first teammate that I would have?
Yeah, who would be your first pick?
LeBron James.
Damn.
To play alongside of me, I'd pick LeBron, no question.
Why?
No question, because he's a pass-first guy, and I'm a gunner, so that goes hand in hand.
Alpha beta. See Marcellus?
He's a great passer, man. He's one of the best passers I've ever seen, and I can score with the best of them. So.
Inbound. Who's the best player in the NBA?
Kobe Bryant.
Better than you?
I would have to say right now. He's a really, really good player. Individually, he has some of the best skills that the NBA has ever seen in history. And he's shown year after year after year why he continues to be one of the best players in our league. I'm getting better.
Inbound, Reeves. Wow. LeBron's going to get it away. And he's going to take a bounce. No, game's over. Detroit wins it.
All of the defensive pressure they've been applying, and they end up letting LeBron get that good of a look.
The mission is to close, and you've got LeBron James here who needs to be taught how to become a killer. Is there a better teacher than the Black Mamba? The Black Mamba in South Beach? Because you got to remember, he is in Hollywood, and he's a 5-time champion. So if he went Hollywood, it's completely justified because he's got the credentials and the cachet to validate it. But he's still focused, ain't he? Every year, LA, right down the block, and he's still focused. Could you imagine what that boy would do with LeBron James? It's something to think about, and that's all I got to say.
That's all? After you blew the rundown completely to bits? we're 7 topics down the list now.
Provocative, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible. It was quite a speech you just made. Dwayne Wade and LeBron are just too good of friends. They are just too close for their own good. There's way too much of, I'm going to get you yours, and I want you to be this, and I want you to be that, to a fault. They're very, truly, genuinely close friends.
And that is why I'm going to turn you to my mode of thinking on this, guys. Because we all know one thing. Kobe don't have that problem.
He does not have that problem with anybody.
Let me tell you something right now. Let me tell you something right now. If LeBron shows up in South Beach with Kobe Bryant as a teammate, and for some reason he shrinks beneath the spotlight, he will hate Kobe. Because Kobe's going to come at him. He's going to come at him. He's going to come at him.
Here's my question.
He's going to come at him.
Here's my
He's a
concern
grown
about
man.
your deal. And I like your deal because it could be one of those classic good trades for both
it helps
teams.
both teams.
Yeah, but here's my problem. You say Kobe can close, but is his window closed?
No.
Is it closed?
Absolutely
well, I don't know.
You answer that.
I'm scared about it. I don't know.
He looks pretty good health-wise. Kobe's got, let me tell you something right now. Kobe on his own has a legit 2 years left in him at this level. But with LeBron, you can double that.
All right, that's fair.
Because
that's fair.
it's LeBron.
But don't bring me that Kobe will teach him the unteachable, because you cannot learn the clutch gene. I've said it a million times. You just can't. LeBron will be he'll go chosen one to frozen one. It would be up to Kobe to do what Dwayne Wade has not been able to do so far.
I'm going to say this to you. Completely different position. Doesn't even equate. But wasn't an accident that Andrew Bynum elevated this year. Okay? Yeah. I mean, when Kobe, you got somebody that can get it done. Okay. That's in your face about what you need to do. Jordan with Pippen. Pippen, what was he when he first came into the league?
Thank you. I've been saying he's not a top 50 player.
He had the migraine headache.
He's not a top 50 player.
He had the migraine headache in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals in 1985 when Jordan's on a bus and his late father, God rest his soul, is busy hugging his son, and Jordan is crying, talking about when we going to get over the hump, when we going to get over the hump. And Scottie Pippen had let him down. And all of a sudden they came back and they started steamrolling over everybody. Why? Because Jordan elevated Pippen. It can be done. It can be done. It can be done.
You realize what you just admitted?
It doesn't matter.
Scottie Pippen is not a top 50 player. Thank you.
Just because Jordan elevated.
I don't think he said. Yes, he did.
No, I didn't. Just because Jordan elevated Pippen doesn't mean Pippen's not there. He still got there. No, he still got there.
What do you mean in terms of value? And when you say LeBron eclipses Jordan, I'm sorry, LeBron eclipses Kobe. Eclipses Kobe. I'm sorry. What do you mean by that? What do you mean eclipses him in value? What are you talking about?
He's going to be higher on the all-time list. If you had to pick one or the other, you're starting a team, you're going to take LeBron. As you point out, a lot of that has to do with LeBron's superior size, which is true. He's 6'8", 250 plus. But it also has to do with the efficiency in scoring. LeBron's an incredibly efficient scorer. And also the defense, because LeBron defense improved throughout his career to the point where he could guard effectively all 5 positions. He's almost like a Dennis Rodman kind of figure at his height in terms of his defensive value. And in addition to all that, he has the passing game of a Magic or a Bird, the kind of passing game, the genius for passing that Kobe doesn't have. So I'm talking about its value, the one who brings you the most wins or the closest to a championship all by himself, the one who fits in best on the most different kinds of team, the one who's going to be ranked higher on the all-time list. Value. Jordan's one, then the question is, where does everyone else fit in? LeBron is going to end his career as the first non-big you mention after Jordan, and Kobe will fit in with Bird and Magic somewhere below that.
Well, the reason why I asked the question is because I think that while you're right, we need to understand why. There's a lack of appreciation for Kobe in this respect. Kobe played with Shaq, so because 3 of those rings came with Shaq, that's going to be held against Kobe to some degree, which almost justifies why he had this insatiable appetite to prove himself away from Shaquille O'Neal. He didn't want to pair with him for the rest of his career because he didn't want to be, identified with just him. He wanted to establish his own aura of invincibility and what have you. But the other thing also is that we don't take into account what LeBron did. LeBron didn't win a title until he joined Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. He didn't win a 3rd title until he joined Kyrie Irving. He got Kevin Love to come from Minnesota as well. And so when we pay attention to those kind of things, as great as LeBron is, we also act too much like it's just LeBron. But LeBron was very adroit, very skilled, very smart in who he decided to join forces with. And that had a lot to do with the success that he ultimately was reaping. Now, he doesn't deserve to be excoriated for that because it's a team game and you can't win by yourself. But he went about the business. He didn't inherit anything. He put himself in a position as a free agent where he went to in Miami. He came back to a situation in Cleveland that was conducive to winning. He stayed within the Eastern Conference throughout his career because it's been considerably weaker than the West for pretty much the last decade. We've got to pay attention to all of that too, whereas Michael Jordan had Pippen and had to groom and elevate Pippen. Mr. Migraine Headache at the time before he ultimately elevated himself into being one of the 50 all-time greatest players and the 6-time champion along with Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan could not have won without him. And in Kobe's case, you got Pau Gasol that came on board. You still had Andrew Bynum, Lamar Odom, and all of those other guys. But LeBron had his crew of individuals as well, and it proved to be very, very beneficial to him. But we don't bring that up nearly as much as we bring it up with Kobe. You look at LeBron and Kobe, that's where I think we part ways. Because even though LeBron has matured to that point where there's no longer a question about that as where he's concerned for a lengthy period of time in his career, it was a huge question. I have religiously stated for the first 46 minutes, I'll take LeBron James over almost anybody in the world all time, with the exception of maybe Jordan. And even that is a maybe. The problem is that when you get to that money time, that clutch, where you sit up there and everything breaks down and you grab the ball and you say, here,
take me to the promised land. LeBron is not somebody that's going to be on that list most of the time in a lot of people's eyes. And nobody is going to question that Kobe would be on that list. When money time arrived and it was time to give him the ball, whether it was in the finals against Indiana, whether it was 2001 in the postseason, whether it was 2010 against Boston, or times in between, Kobe at a younger age was so sensational. LeBron had to grow into that role for a significant period of time. And that's the difference. What LeBron learned to have, Kobe had. MJ had. And here's the last point, Max. LeBron was pushed to that elevated level of play. Kobe took it. MJ took it. These are guys that you knew from the moment that moment arrived, they belonged there. LeBron was pushed, coached, nurtured, tutored into that elevated position. That is the difference. Number one, Michael Jordan never, ever once said he's the greatest ever. No one has ever heard that out of the mouth of Michael Jordan. So, in other words, whatever his standard is, it's applicable to anything that he says, because Michael Jordan has never said, I am the greatest who ever lived, okay? So when people sit up there and say, well, Michael, if you're bringing that up, that means Bill Russell was better than you. Who knows? Michael Jordan might say, sure, okay, no problem. He's better because he's got 11 rings. Yep. That's Michael Jordan's standard. That's number one. Number two, I've said this on many occasions, and I'll say it again. LeBron James is an absolute freak of nature. He is one of the greatest we have ever seen. From a talent perspective, he's top two, may go down as number one all time, okay? I would take LeBron James all day, every day, and twice on Sundays for the first 46 minutes. But with the game on the line, it's a whole bunch of players that I would take ahead of LeBron James. And Kobe Bryant would be one of them. Last 2 minutes, game on the line, postseason action, things of that nature, I'm rolling with Kobe. And when you think about Michael Jordan and what Michael Jordan has to say, I think it's incredibly important that everybody understands the standard with which he's measuring stuff by. It's not just about the number of championships. It's about actually winning them. There's a whole bunch of cats that can contribute it, but there are very few who can close the deal. Kobe Bryant was one of those people who could close the deal. We saw it when they won their first championship, when Shaq had fouled out and Kobe Bryant had to take over and play against the Indiana Pacers and take control. What we're saying is we also look at him, he was waiting for this moment, talking about this moment, salivating for the moment, whereas LeBron had to be pushed and prodded to that point. He had to go to South Beach. He had to play with D. Wade. He had to sit up there and be lectured and tutored and counseled by a D. Wade and Pat Riley. And then after he did that, they had to convince him, it's your time. You're the best in the world. If you remember in 2012, there was an all-star game taking place, and the game was on the line. This is after, Max, you'll remember this. This is after LeBron James and the Miami Heat had lost in the finals to the Dallas Mavericks. And D-Wade and these boys are proud of them. It's your time, it's your time, it's your time. It's the all-star weekend. It's an exhibition. Nothing is on the line. LeBron James has the ball at the top of the key with Kobe guarding him. And instead of taking the shot himself, he tried to throw a pass, and it got picked off by Blake Griffin. And Melo got in his face, and Kobe got in his face, and D-Wade had got in his face. They're like, what are you doing? So all I'm saying is, my last point is this. All I'm saying is the level of greatness that they were willing to embrace and they were salivating for, LeBron had to be pushed towards. And if you are Michael Jordan, you take that into consideration when you think about how you rank a player.
Put up. Dwayne Wade just 8 points, a new career playoff low for him. The Mavs use a 21-9 run over the last 10-plus minutes of the game to win this and even up the series. LeBron, again, just 8 points. How do you explain this?
Rob, last night we saw the same LeBron James who went into a trance and crumbled under pressure in Game 5 last year against Boston, even in the second half of Game 6. This was the equivalent to me of an NBA panic attack, going blind under the pressure. 0 for 1 in the fourth quarter with 2 killer turnovers. Are you kidding me? On the NBA's biggest stage, in LeBron James' biggest moment, once again, he was exposed for how few superstar intangibles he has. Most talented player in the NBA, but no killer instinct, no rising to the biggest occasions. I still say the reason he chose to go to Miami was so Dwayne Wade could win him a ring or 3 or 4. And up 9 with 10 minutes to go, it sure looked like Dwayne Wade was taking LeBron on his first championship ride. So I'm not going to criticize LeBron for not scoring in this game, because I don't expect him to score big in a game like this. Yeah, he got nervous-handed again, started bricking shots. He was even missing layups in the first half. What shocked me was that LeBron James went comatose on defense. After Jason Terry had called him out the day before, he went deadheaded on defense in the fourth quarter and let Jason Terry get loose for 8 points that should have been maybe 10 or 12 or 14 points in the fourth quarter. And finally, I don't mind, again, that LeBron doesn't shoot, but I do mind that as the point guard of this team, he quit creating shots in the fourth quarter. Not one time did he get in the lane and create an easier shot for a Dwayne Wade who was getting double and triple teamed the whole fourth quarter.
Skip, this disappearing act is more inexcusable than last year, and I'm gonna tell you why. You're on the precipice of winning a title, up 3-1, right? I mean, it's a big game. LeBron, before the game, we saw the video. We should be playing like our backs are against the wall, even though we're up 2-1. Remember, he told everybody, and yet in the fourth quarter, especially, it was like a Where's Waldo. I didn't even know he was in the game. I'm looking for him, and you're right. It wasn't just. I think people can live with having a bad night, shooting, playing, making some mistakes, doing things, but he just was disengaged. How can you be disengaged in the biggest game to put your foot on the Dallas Mavericks' neck and go up 3-1, not to be engaged?
Is it possible that his early struggle is what disengaged him? You know, once you get off to that bad start, because I think a lot of people out there will say he had a bad game, worst time to have a bad game, but he had it. Is it possible that then, more so than the other nervousness of a playoff?
I'm not blaming him for shooting or not shooting in the fourth quarter. I don't care about that. But he did early on. He drove for what was going to be a layup, and at the last second, he airballed it.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so you're having a bad night, so quit shooting. That's fine with me.
And your other point about the defense, let's be honest. Jason Terry had open looks.
Yeah.
Where was LeBron? He had open looks. He could have knocked down, like you said, another six or 8 points.
And as I said yesterday, I said this. It doesn't take the clutch gene to play great shutdown defense. So at least if you're having a bad night, you can shut down the 6'2" guy that you're guarding in the fourth quarter. Are you kidding me? It got so bad that even on the last play of the game, Mike Miller had an open quick pass to LeBron in the corner for an open three. And Mike Miller said, no, I'm going over here, because they just said.
To what you have to say, because what you've been saying over the last couple of years is proven once again to be true. LeBron James will not play for an NBA title this year. Whether or not he will in the future, we don't know. But let's get to our list. He almost had a quadruple double, which isn't a good thing because the turnovers were there, but he also, the points, rebounds, and assists were there as well. Grade his performance, so overall grade for LeBron James in Game 6. What is it, Skip?
I'm going to give LeBron a break today because he did have a triple-double, including 19 rebounds. So I'm going to give him a D-, and that's D as in dog minus.
But it is a break. I thought for sure you had him for an F-.
The stat of the night, as you said in your setup, was that he did almost have a quadruple-double. In a do-or-die game on the road, a game that people had favored them to win from the start of the playoffs, LeBron James had 9 turnovers. And what shocked me the most was that at least 6 of them were shockingly unforced errors. They had nothing to do with defensive pressure, and they just took the heart out of his Cavaliers, I thought, because I saw a Prince James that once again was crumbling under the pressure and the expectations to be King James. And I want to point out, Jay and Rob, that the Cavs cut it to 4 with 8:37 left. And that was because he made a couple of threes. Now that broke an 0 for 10 three-point string for LeBron, and the second one was about as awkward looking a three-point shot as I've ever witnessed, but it did go in. And all of a sudden, Rondo is feeling the heat from LeBron James and misses 2 free throws. Absolutely. And LeBron comes right down and turns it over for the 8th time again and crushes the momentum, and it swings the other way, and eventually Pierce hits the three-pointer, and it's over. In the last 8 minutes of that game, LeBron James, the 2-time MVP, took 3 shots total. He ran from the ball way too much. One of the shots he made, which was an uncontested dunk. And yet, in the last 2 minutes, Rob Parker, I saw LeBron James give up, and in turn his team gave up.
The whole team did,
They all just said, okay, if you're giving up, we'll stop. We won't foul. And this was in a way that I could never have imagined a Michael Jordan or a Larry Bird or a Magic Johnson or even a Reggie Miller giving up with the game still a little bit in the balance.
For any winner.
Anybody.
Because you're right, Skip, from that standpoint. I have him as a C- because I thought the turnovers were just crushing. You know, I understand the other points, the rebounds, that's all
The
fine.
shooting percentage was 8 for 21, which was actually the same percentage the team shot, but you've got to shoot better than 8 for 21.
But you can't be so sloppy with the ball. And I think you're right. There was a definite giving up at the end where the Celtics had missed some free throws. You get them to miss 2 or 3 free throws in a row, you knock down a couple
Especially
of threes.
with Rondo handling the ball.
There's a chance that you're still in the game.
Absolutely.
I was stunned that they just said, and you're right, but they were signaled by LeBron James, who at the very end, look at where he was. He wasn't touching the ball. He was pushed all the way out. I just thought to myself, he's not engaged at all.
Right.
And
the
that
final
was the
minutes, it was
problem.
each time he held the ball, the first thing he thought to do was to get rid of it. Like he
Hot
wanted
potato. It was a game of hot
I think you hit the nail on the head. He raised the white flag first, and you could see it. You could see it when they stopped fouling. The whole team put the white flag up. It was something. I think everybody was stunned as they watched that. All right, how much damage did LeBron James do to his reputation with this series of basketball?
Look, obviously, for me, as you well know, all too well, it just confirmed everything I've been saying about him for 3 or 4 years on the show, and so much of it I've been criticized for because I've been unfair and over the top when I talk about LeBron James. And so, Jay, just let me say, for the record right now, I'm offended when people dismiss me as a hater. I don't like that term when it comes to LeBron. If you want to use it in the big picture, that's fine.
And it's used towards you a lot, okay, when it comes to LeBron James and others too.
As God is my witness, I don't hate LeBron. I don't know him well, you know him better than I do, but I get the feeling he's really a good guy, nice guy. Maybe he's too nice of a guy. But please don't kill the messenger, because all I ever do, and have tried to do from the start with LeBron James, is just watch closely and tell the truth about what I see. And truth is, from the start, I saw Batman talent, supreme talent, the biggest talent I've ever seen in the NBA. But the intangibles are much closer to Robin. He's Robin more than he's Batman. He's Pippen more than he's Jordan.
I think that's a legitimately fair point. If I may speak for those who throw the arrows at you when it comes to haters, answer this, because I think this is something that a lot of folks that listen have a problem with. We understand that there are shortcomings in the game. It's obvious. If you watch him as closely as you have, they are there. But the D- is to automatically dismiss a line, Skip, 27 points, 19 rebounds, and 10 assists. Now, yes, the turnovers are inexcusable, and the shooting percentage was pathetic, but a D- implies that he is the worst student in the class. That's where I think those that come at you with that hater line, I think that's the problem that they may have.
We're back to Michael Jordan. I feel like he begged this comparison, because he did choose number 23, and he's going to change to 6 next year, but he did steal the powder throwing routine, and I thought he shamed the number 23 the last 2 games. That's my legacy for him right now, because that's all I have to go on. But
well, you have other games.
I know, but he was lifeless in those last 2 games.
That's fair.
To the point, I'm saying he's the fake MJ. He's the 2-time MVP with 2 times the best regular season team by far, to me, and the prohibitive favorite going into the playoffs. And twice now, I've gone, okay, I'm going Orlando in 6 last year over Prince James.
You got both.
And then I'm going to Boston in 6, because he can't stand up to the pressure. The higher the expectations, the worse he performs.
Right.
Okay, what we've seen now, period, end of story. LeBron James was made for the regular season. He's a regular season dynamo. He's made for our Sports Center plays of the night, because he's always number 1 in the regular season. But come postseason time, he's the most overrated, overhyped superstar in my history in this business. Seriously, that's my bottom line to this discussion. Shannon Sharp, I know how much you love you some LeBron James. You already have him on your Mount Rushmore. In fact, sometimes you make the case that he's the greatest player ever, but then you sort of catch yourself and pull it back maybe 1 notch or 2.
I might not catch myself this time.
You might not, because I might push you right over the edge with what I'm about to say. Okay. What has always driven me the craziest about LeBron James is many people, including you, elevate him into at least the top 5 all time, yet he remains, going into his 14th year, by his standards, a lousy outside shooter and an even worse free throw shooter. And I don't get it, because I have heard this theme for off-season after off-season after off-season. And this is not LeBron hate, I'm stating facts here. LeBron always says, I will improve. I'll work on my free throw shooting. I'll work on my 3-point shooting. And the worst happens the year after that. So he made his first one last night, so now he's off to the preseason races, and maybe he's going to improve his 3-point shot. But I'm going to remind you, Michael Jordan couldn't shoot a lick when he came into this league out of North Carolina, and he taught himself what became a deadly 3-point shot. Magic Johnson couldn't shoot a lick. He had no jump shot when he came into the National Basketball Association. He probably never did have a jump shot, even when he was a pro, right? It was a set shot. But he taught himself a dependable, clutch 3-point shot that over time worked. And both of them were 85% free throw shooters, both regular season and post, right in that area. And LeBron remains that 74% free throw shooter that is so beneath the dignity of how great he is. And I'm going to say it again, he just keeps taking too many 3-point shots for the good of his team. How has he survived that? How has he lived to tell about that? How does he have the 3 rings that he has? He plays in the Eastern Conference. If he had played in the West over all these years, the dreaded West, I don't think he could have gotten away with missing so many 3-point shots. Because I'm going to remind you, let's just look at the biggest picture first. In his postseason history, for any player who's taken at least 700 postseason threes, LeBron is the all-time worst postseason 3-point shooter. I'm going to say it again, the all-time worst postseason 3-point shooter at 32%. He has missed 608 threes in playoff games. That's a lot of empty trips for his basketball team, but they have survived and lived to tell and gotten to a lot of finals because they're coming through the easier path, which is in the East. So what happened 2 years ago in the postseason? LeBron James shot 23%, which is the all-time worst of the 75 who have taken that many, the minimum shots required. 23%. Yet LeBron had his team, as you remember, I'm going back 2 finals ago, the first one against Golden State, they're up 2-1. LeBron is on the threshold of his greatest achievement as a basketball player, right? If he pulls that one off, no Kyrie, no Kevin Love, wow. I mean, even me, the hater, boy, I would stand up and applaud that.
Find a reason.
Okay, but I didn't find a reason because he gave me a reason. He handed it to me on silver platters because Game 4 in LeBron's house, they're up 2-1, and he didn't take a lot of threes in that game. He's just 1 for 4, but he's 7 for 22 from the field, took too many outside shots. He just never really improved as an outside shooter. And then we fast forward to Game 6 that year where they had a chance back in his house to at least force a Game 7. You never know what might happen back in Golden State as we saw this year. And LeBron goes 2 for 10 from 3. It's inevitable that he's going to have those kind of games a lot more than his occasional rare hot streaks where he'll just go crazy making 3-point shots. And then what happened last year, the regular season, after he dedicated his offseason to improving his 3-point shot, he shot 30.9% last regular season, which was the worst he shot since his rookie year. Did he improve? No, he didn't. Did he improve his free throw shooting? No, he didn't. He's still a liability when it comes to the postseason, especially from the 3-point line, but also from the free throw line. And he should be better than that. Do you know how many points he's left on the table by missing free throws? I mean, do I need to remind you, Larry Bird was almost a 90% free throw shooter?
You can talk as long as you want to try to make me forget my points, but I got them written down here, so you take as long as you need, and when you're done, you just let me know, and I'm going to sit on back here. Hey, don't worry about me. You take as much time as you need.
I got to tell you.
You're like 9 minutes, but I got my numbers right here because I knew this was going to happen.
I got to tell you.
I knew you would do this, and I came prepared for you today. So go ahead, take as much time as you need, Joey. Joey, will you buzz me when he's ready? Okay.
I talked too long, Joy, and I apologize for that to the point that I just made myself feel sorry for LeBron James because I've piled on too much and I have a lot more. I could just throw number after number at you and it would just crush whatever weak, meager argument you're going to throw back at me.
Bron, I got you today, bro. I got you today, bro.
Talking to him?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
wait, there's a rare dunk from LeBron.
Let's go back to Saturday, gentlemen, if we can. I know you're probably salivating a little bit here, Skip.
Skip, how you doing?
LeBron did not shake hands with the Magic or address the media after the game. Shake hands. LeBron did not. He did talk yesterday, though, finally. Take a listen to some of what he had to say.
Have you talked to Dwight? I mean, you didn't shake hands with anybody last night, but have you talked to him to congratulate him or no?
No, I haven't. I sent him an email last night, congratulate him. But one thing about me, guys, you gotta understand. It's hard for me to congratulate somebody after you just lose to them. I mean, I'm a winner. It's not being a poor sport or anything like that. But somebody beats you up, you're not gonna congratulate them on beating you up. That don't make sense. It don't make sense to me. I'm a competitor, and that's what I do. It don't make sense for me to go over and shake somebody's hand.
He says it's not about being a poor sport. A lot of people would disagree out there from comments I've seen. What's your reaction?
Scoop, I, for one, was not at all surprised by this. This was, to me, the real LeBron James. This is who he is, and to me, who he has been. This is the spoiled brat product of those billions of witnesses out there. This is the guy I've been talking about as he's been the front-running bully all year long, and he finally got punched right in the mouth, and he ran to the locker room in shame. I have been saying for months on this show that all this picture taking and the posing and the flexing, it just doesn't show any class to the game on the court or to his opponents, to me. And it finally all caught up with him because I think the MVP suddenly realized when the clock ran out that he had failed miserably. And I thought it showed even less class to duck the media after the game than to duck Dwight Howard's handshake because he left the guys he had called all along his complimentary players to face the music after the game. No class there and no class on the court didn't surprise me.
Well, see, I can understand that. I think this is a situation where if you're looking at somebody's character, they always say you judge them how they handle defeat as opposed to how they handle victory. And in this situation, for LeBron to say, for us to know him is to know that he doesn't like losing and shake somebody's hand doesn't make sense. Well, I think in his career so far, there have been 4 times I think he's been in the playoffs, and he hasn't been to the finals, so he has not won his last game. Unless we go back and somebody shows me proof that he's consistent in doing this, then I don't have a problem with it. If he never stood or shook hands with the Celtics after the game after they lost last year, cool. If he did the same thing in San Antonio a couple of years ago, he was in the finals, cool. But we know that didn't happen, so we're not making a big deal out of nothing. This is something, and this goes into his character, which I think is not, it goes to what you've been saying, it goes to something I never wanted to believe. And his action and in his response to try to justify his action leads me to believe that there's something about LeBron James that we're either discovering or something that has to change, because I don't mind ducking the media, Skip, but Dwight Howard is supposed to be your friend. Not only did you win a gold medal together, during the All-Star games, you all are cool with each other. You joke, shooting half-court shots before games. As your boy, as your friend at least, give him a pound, and then walk off the court. The media is one thing, but if that's your guy, at least acknowledge it, because this isn't about competition.
Wish him luck in the next round.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, well, anything that comes with some type of human connection, because it's not about competition, it's about acknowledgement at this point. And the fact that he didn't acknowledge somebody that he knows that is supposed to be his friend, that's what I have a big problem with.
For the record, the Cleveland Plain Dealer said he didn't shake hands after the Celtics.
I was going to say, a lot of people have written in and said he didn't shake after the Celtics.
But I know for sure that he and Tim Duncan did have a conversation after that, and Tim, they shook hands after
this is just
outside the locker room.
LeBron used as his excuse here, I'm a winner. I don't think he's a winner. I ask you again, what has he won?
He wasn't a winner in this series.
That's what I'm saying, but he hasn't won anything in 6 years now, to the point that I don't see that he has winners' intangibles, the know-how, the will to make it happen when it's time to happen in the fourth quarters of these games. And we'll get to this later, but in 5 of the 6 fourth quarters, I thought he was awful when it was Kobe-Michael time. And in the end, I think he's a one-man show in a team sport, and it's very hard to pull that off.
A lot of people are weighing in on what you guys are saying. Ray from Texas says LeBron has to face humility after dancing, prancing, and posing, blowing out teams. He has to be humble and shake his opponent's hands after a loss.
He was at the Ohio State Duke game last night, played in Columbus, Ohio, and to not many surprise, he was booed by the fans there to watch the game. He was there with Dwayne Wade. Later, the two teamed up to throw T-shirts out, PR move. I don't know if it worked. Can LeBron James ever regain his popularity? He took a big hit with the decision.
Sure he can. If he exercises the opt-out clause in 2 years and goes back to Cleveland. Sure, he can do it then. But outside of that, no. And what LeBron James needs to do is develop some alligator skin. Stop trying to be loved, okay? Because that's really what this is about. Look, man, they don't like you in Ohio. It's because you turned your back on the city. Now, I don't have a problem with you doing it. To me, Cleveland, South Beach, the choice is simple. I'm not hating on that at all. You could have handled it better, but clearly, you made the right decision for you, and that's cool. But if you're going to wear the black hat, then wear the black hat. Skip Bayless on many, many occasions has brought up the name Kobe Bryant. You want me to tell you the number one reason why Kobe Bryant, they boo him in every arena, but he's cheered in every arena as well. Do you know why that is, Jay? It ain't just because his skills. It's because he could give 2 cents about what you think. He is coming to take you out. Whoever it is that you put in front of him, Kobe is on a mission to steamroll over you. He don't care whether you cheer for him. He don't care if you shake his hand. He don't care if you don't ask for autographs or pictures or whatever. If the cause of your hatred has something to do with basketball, he could care less. And LeBron James has to
feed off your booze.
He will.
Feed off.
Yeah,
you actually
absolutely.
I feel sorry for LeBron James, and I'm being sincere about this.
Why?
He doesn't want to be a villain. He does not want to embrace the hate, as you say. He's not a mentally tough kid, and he's still a kid at heart. He's almost childlike to me. He's not thick-skinned. He's thin-skinned. He wants so badly to be loved, and he can't be loved. He does the wrong thing at the wrong time. He can't stand up to the pressure in the fourth quarter of the NBA Finals. He turns into the frozen one, and it's predictable to me. And then it's pathetic. It's sad to me that he goes to the Buckeye game and he sits in the front row in his Buckeye colors, and they boo him off the court when he walks in. And then he has to stick around after the game, and he and D-Wade got to throw T-shirts to the crowd. Love me not. Love me not. Love me not. Right?
Do you think if he had it to do all over again, he would either A, do it differently, go to Miami,
He'd do it differently.
under a much different circumstance, or stay in Cleveland?
You know what? If he had it to do over again, I think he'd stay in Cleveland. I think this has crushed him. It's not a happy place for him anymore.
You think he would have done it
I think he would have done it differently, but I ain't going to think that he would have passed up on South Beach. I'm just not believing that. But I will say this, again, he's got to get harder. Not only that, that's what it's going to require for him to win the world championship. Because you have to understand, you got to have that edge. Listen, instead of trying to act like you a champion, why don't you imitate champions? Why don't you steal something from them when it counts most? You know what? Study
capable.
Kobe. Yes, he is, and that's why I'm staying on him. That's why I'm not letting him. It's not because I don't believe in him. It's because I do believe in him. He is too supremely talented. He may be the best talent in the world. You know what? You just got to get that heart, man. Stop walking around like the Tin Man syndrome. I mean, what is wrong with you?
Can't buy one.
Come on, man. He got it in him. Just peel it out. Suck it up.
You can't go.
Wear the black hat.
You can't go see the wizard.
Wear the black hat.
There's no wizard.
Wear the black hat.
Is there a wizard, Jay?
Wear the black hat.
No, there's no wizard.
Wear the black
I'm
hat.
with you. I think you're born with that killer instinct.
Come on, man.
You're not.
You got to come with it. And you know what? If he doesn't have it, he won't win a title. Or if they do win a title, it'll be because of D-Wade and I.
Thank you.
And by the way, LeBron James, let me say this one last thing in front of this camera because this is very, very important. It is not enough for you to win the championship riding Dwayne Wade's coattails. If he's the MVP of the NBA Finals and you show up smaller than Mini-Me like you did for 4 straight fourth quarters of the NBA Finals, it still won't get by us. You can walk around with that ring and think you got something all you want to. You had damn well better be the reason the Miami Heat win this title. I'm talking, he's got to show up. He's got to make amends for not showing up in that NBA Finals last year. You got to get it done. I don't care what you do between now and May. I don't care what you do the first week of June since the Finals has been moved back for a week. You got to be the reason that the Miami Heat win the title. If you ain't, I don't want to hear from you, and nobody else should either. You got to get it done.
You sound like Stephen.
You got to get it done.
You sound like Stephen.
No, that's not good. Skip says he won't. Skip says he won't and he can't. I'm saying he can. He just hasn't done it. Get it done.
LeBron James, you should thank God for Dwayne Wade.